Hi, this is Paul Pharma. Welcome to the next LinkedIn Live. I hope you are finding these useful. I'm going to be doing them. Actually, I'm going to do more because I like doing them. Why not? I like sharing. I like helping. I've been in the industry now for 4 decades. And my decision, what I decided for my celebration for my 4th decade is that I'm going to share more information and I'm going to train people more and I'm going to help more people to improve their understanding of the pharmaceutical industry. I started in microbiology, did my degree in applied biology, which primarily was human, but it included some microbiology and some ecology as well in there. I've started I said microbiology already. I went to QC, QA, auditing. I've been a QP now for 22 years, named on a license. 22 years. I'm an RP, an RPI as well. I'm still named on multiple licenses, UK and EU. And I enjoy it. So that's why I carry on. I'm still auditing, supplier audits. I have a team that works for me. I'm the founder of the Academy of Pharmaceutical Excellence, which you'll see contact details for at the end. I'm a pharmaceutical consultant, but more than that, I run a consultancy. So there's a team of us that can help with really whatever you need. So pharma is bigger than most people realize. Pharmaceutical is, I didn't really introduce, did I? So what we're looking at now is where does pharma career fit? So how can you decide where you want to be? Well, the pharmaceutical industry is bigger than most people realize. It has a diverse professional ecosystems, labs, manufacturing, commercial, regulatory, research. There's so much to choose from. It's really hard to decide before you join the industry where you want to be, what you actually want to do. Drug discovery is interesting for many. That's often the place that people think of when they think of pharma. I want to do some research. I want to find something new. But it's just as important to have people in regulatory affairs so that we know that we're actually complying with the regulations and quality to make sure that the product that actually reaches its destination, that reaches the patient, is safe and it does the job. Now, business and commercial, you need to understand the strategy to know how you're going to get your product to market, because what's the point in developing a new product if you can't actually supply it and you can't treat anybody? There's no point, is there? So sales and marketing are just as important in their methodology for getting the medicines to the patients to support them, to treat them. Operations and supply, well, if we've done all that science and research and we know what we want to supply and we've got a path to market, we actually still need to be able to make it. Manufacture it. You need to understand the logistics. You need to look at the quality operations, delivering the medicines worldwide. So it's actually important to understand the breadth of the industry as a first step towards making appropriate career decisions. Now, having said that, I joined the industry without researching anything. I thought, well, I can either go to university full-time or I can take this job that I've just been offered and they're going to pay for me to do my training, which is actually quite common in the pharmaceutical industry, that they sponsor you to do your training. So as I've said already, I've got my degree, they sponsor my degree. I've got my master's, they sponsor my master's. They sponsored my postgrad. There's a lot of different things that you can get. There's a wide range of opportunities. And for me, the most important thing when you are in the pharmaceutical industry is to actually keep learning, but also to take the opportunities when they come up. Otherwise, you never know where you might go next. So what is the pharmaceutical value chain? Well, every medicine has to be discovered first. You have to find out what actually works. You identify the compounds that could work. Then you do some clinical trials. You test the safety first. Then you find out what it actually does. And often you'll find that you're researching one product for one condition and you find something else. Regulatory affairs submit all the data for approval. That's initially and on an ongoing basis. Manufacturing then needs to be able to make the product, and then we commercialize, launch, and market the drug. And after that, I suppose you've got your pharmacovigilance to check once it's on the market that everything's going well. But the important thing is patients need to be able to access life-changing medicines. So if we think about a regulatory career path, what might you want to do? Well, you can look at the regulatory guidelines and you advise your colleagues, prepare and submit license variations and applications, liaise with the global regulatory authorities. There's pharmacovigilance and safety reporting, but also ensuring ongoing compliance throughout the life cycle. Roles could be regulatory affairs and quality assurance, QP, pharmacovigilance, compliance. But what's it like working there? Well, you've got a global reach. You've got significant responsibility. Every submission, compliance decision carries genuine weight for the patient protection. Experienced regulatory professionals consistently among the most sought-after talent in the industry, with good career progression and competitive salaries. What about clinical? Well, roles such as clinical research associate, project manager, operations lead, medical affairs. There's many different areas. They sit at an intersection between science and patient outcomes. And often you'll find that the scope of the work makes it more interesting because you have to deal with all the different teams. But what's it like working in clinical? Cutting edge innovation? Probably. Data at the core? Yes, always. Looking at how you can actually understand what it is that the product that you're placing on the market and what benefit it's going to give to the patient. And then, of course, you've got global collaboration. You're likely to be working with other teams, researchers in other areas. And it's a satisfying role with meaningful contribution. Unless, of course, you go somewhere where they're just doing generics, in which case it's not quite the same. But innovation can directly lead to saving patient lives. The commercial career path is quite interesting in itself, but in different ways. It's not really for the scientist, although I do often find that the scientists move on to the commercial career path. So the one thing you should consider when you're looking at pharmaceuticals is you're not necessarily going to stay where you start. Personally, I didn't. So you could be looking at business development. But as I mentioned earlier on, market access is really important. How is it actually going to get to the system? What are you going to have to do? Who do you need to negotiate with to actually allow the product to be placed on the market? The commercial strategy shapes how products are positioned, priced, and launched, especially in competitive markets. So where do you decide? What do you decide on? Well, rules, frameworks, you look at compliance. Evidence, research. Do you really like strategy and business and stakeholder conversations? Or do you want to be close to patients and clinical reality? It all depends on what it is that you really want. You should look at matching your natural strengths, whether that could be analytical, technical, interpersonal, or strategic, and use that to guide your way in. But once you're in there, you'll often find that you enjoy something more than another. I enjoy being on the QP role. I like the opportunities that it brings together. I like going out and auditing the suppliers, but also I like it from an advisory perspective. But you might like something else, and really you don't know until you're in what the opportunities are. There's no one single pharmaceutical career path. You should always think about the wide variety of opportunities, but use that strengths that you know you've got already to decide at least where to start. And then stay curious. Think about, well, maybe that would be interesting. Maybe a career path that isn't actually visible from the outside. So, for example, when I was in What was I in? QC? Might have been micro. There was the opportunity to join the process control team. When I joined the company, that didn't even exist. So it's interesting the way that pharma changes. The pharmaceutical companies bring in new opportunities, new departments, new structures, new designs, new approaches. And I'm sure you'll find AI's got a place in there as well. I know today was quite a short live, but I do hope you found it useful, interesting. That if you do have any questions, you feel free to ask me. Send me a message, email, or even a contact request on the website. I am on LinkedIn. Those of you that are watching on LinkedIn will know. I'm also on YouTube. I'd appreciate if you subscribe to the YouTube channel and come and connect with me on LinkedIn. So thank you for today. I hope you found it useful, and I look forward to seeing you soon.